What's up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gush1.
We're back at it again, answering your questions in another installment of For the Greater.
And this question comes from none other than Chief Keith. Not Chief Keith. Chief Keith. He says, we have two questions, but one of them is going to be our top question. Oh, and by the way, he wrote question right before he asked the question. We're going to read those first. So if you want to comment for next week, or you want to ask us a question for next week, be sure to put question before the question, because we're going to get to those first. So to assure that we answer your question, do that. All right, he says, do you think GW will ever reveal who the two lost Primarchs were? What do you think?
I'm going to say no. And that's because these two lost Primarchs are what give the people their creativity. They can basically do whatever they want, meaning they can buy whatever units they want. So that's like saying, here you go, guys, mold this into whatever, but you're going to want to buy our model, so go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think GW will ever, not even lore-wise.
Well, there's a little bit of lore on them. Like, we know that they didn't take place before the Horus Heresy, but they were there during the Great Crusade. So, in some books and novels and whatnot, they do mention them, but they don't go in depth as to where it's like, oh, we can't name them this, or they can't be this color scheme. So.
Exactly, that's what I think. Like, they'll never in the lore name them or give them like a color scheme or pretty much any details too much. So thank you, Chief Keith, for answering or for sending that question our way. Now you have another question. It says, do you think the Eldar and Dark Eldar will ever band together once again?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because they don't necessarily, they're not like Chaos and Space Marines, where they have like a super hatred of each other. It's more of like the Eldar are the old grumpy men, and then the Dark Eldar are like the
rebellious teens.
Yeah, but if their planet ever got attacked, they would unite.
And there's been instances where they've joined forces to like fight for a common enemy.
Right. Their bond is stronger than what Chaos and Space Marines are.
All right. On to the next question by Malak616. He asks, it says that actually.
Okay.
If Magnus returned to the Imperium, could he repair the damage done to the human webway?
If Magnus returned, I think he would still be demonically possessed.
Yeah, he's a freaking demon Primarch. So
yeah, I don't think you can get rid of that.
If he returned, he'd be facing against thousands of Emperor-loving loyalists. So
yeah. I guess that answers so no.
Mm-mm.
Next question comes from Seer Rush. He says, which race do you think will be last race standing? Personally, I think it will be a mashup between the Orcs and the Nids. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, those are the more there's the most of them. They encompass most of the universe.
They're resilient, yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
We agree with you.
Yeah.
Another one by Malak616. How big were the Legion Astartes? So this is pre-Codex, and
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, how many successor chapters have there been for the Ultramarines? Not to mention all the successor chapters of the second founding.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of them came from the Ultramarines, so you're looking at like 100,000.
Right. And no, they weren't all uniform, because if I remember correctly, I think, what was it? I want to say the Thousand Sons, they were badly damaged when Magnus took control. So for like the first like hundreds of years of the Great Crusade, they were out of fighting because they needed to regroup their numbers. So yeah, it numbers a lot, but it varies.
Yeah. Next question comes from Phil Richards. Terry Pratchett's Discworld versus 40K Universe. I've never watched that series, because I know they were books and then they made a cartoon, but I've never seen the movie, never read the books, so I wouldn't really know how to answer that. Discworld, have you heard of it?
No. Sounds cool though.
But yeah.
This one's by number 0264IFY. Whatever happened to Nathaniel Garrow at the end of Ashes of Fealty?
That's you.
I haven't done that lore yet, so I don't know. But Garrow, his model looks pretty badass. And from what I've heard, he does take part in a lot of other important characters' lore. So I know he's important. I just haven't done his yet.
He's Grey Knights?
No, he's I believe Imperial Fists, wasn't he? Nathaniel Garo?
Nathaniel Garo, no, he's probably a loyalist who...
Well, he's a loyalist, but I know his chapter went...
Yeah, so it wouldn't be Imperial Fist. It'd probably be somebody from the Isfan Massacre.
Which...
like, what is it called?
Luna,
World Eaters?
Luna Wolves?
Maybe Luna Wolves, yeah.
Word Bearers? Something like that.
Next question comes from Austin Palmer. What is the newest successor chapter, and do you think they will introduce more? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the newest successor chapter is. Will they introduce more? Of course.
Yeah.
Especially as the IP of Warhammer 40K expands to other areas, comic books, video games, movies. Those creators are gonna want to do what we do and create our own chapters and create our own stories within the 40K universe. So will there be more chapters? Hell yeah. More foundings.
Yeah. Because the more lore you put out, the more it intrigues more people, and that means more money for them. So
yeah.
Oh, John Redcorn, here we go. If you had to wife up a character from Warhammer 40K, who would it be? He'll go with Moriana, because why not? And would I make a good Emperor of Humanity?
So the first question, let's get rid of the would he make a good Emperor of Humanity question. I mean, the answer would be no. You're not psychic. At least I don't think.
John Redcorn psychic? No. Well, he's Native American, so like he can tap into all that kind of stuff. Like the spirits.
And then the other question.
Who would you wife up in Warhammer 40K?
What sex lady would you, or man, would you enjoy?
Or Xenos.
Yeah, I guess.
I'd probably go with an Eldar Farseer.
Anyone?
You? A Howling Banshee Farseer?
Ooh. Why? Because she's a lady in the street with a freak in the bed?
Why not? Let's go with that.
And you don't have to use condoms.
Yeah, their fertility rate is like...
Yep. I would probably... Some saint of the Sisters of Battle. Or, yeah.
That's like doing a nun.
Yeah, that's why. Pure, clean.
Not after you.
Just go...
You heard
all
it here,
up
guys.
in there.
Go... inside a nun. And
then when I'm climaxing, I'll just... Wah!
Release your spores.
Yeah. Literally. Soup asks, do you think it's possible to have another emperor-like being? It seems almost too simple for it to not happen. Only 1,000 or 2 psychers would have to kill themselves for the new emperor. Sounds too easy, though. Yeah, no, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Because we don't know the quality of the psychers that were sacrificed, or that sacrificed themselves to create the emperor. The Emperor, you gotta remember, is like a super ultra psychic being, and he already, like, so many psychers get sacrificed to power the throne. Yeah.
I mean, just think about it this way. This guy is so strong, he's technically dead, but he can still protect the entire Imperium from the dangers of the warp.
Yep. Like, in a universe that he was not born into, or born, well, I guess he was born from it. Yeah, but in a universe that's not our universe. It's the warp.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's just crazy.
It's mind-blowing.
William Alfonso. Hey guys, are you guys Hispanic?
We sure is. Atticus X. Why didn't you answer my question from the last week? Or from last week. I don't know why I put that. What's the most powerful Dark Eldar unit?
I've never played Dark Eldar.
Never played against them, or yeah. So we're gonna give you a really bad answer. But from my understanding of what a Dark Eldar army consists of, you're not looking for something. Well, they have heavy poison, and their weapons are pretty strong. But their thing is speed, like all Eldars.
Yeah.
So what are they called? Reavers.
The Reaver jet bikes.
And then the ones with the jet bike. The jet units, like the Storm Boys.
Oh, the one that they're riding on, like these little.
No, not those. The ones where like they have wings.
Oh, I want to say Scourges, but I don't think that's it.
Okay, we have something like that. I think those would be the best units tactically. But again, nah, I wouldn't know because I've never played them and I've never even. I skimmed the codex once. That's it.
Skimming. That's a
Sexy.
This one's by Ozani Sandor. Now it's not just a question. He put power question.
Power question.
Let's make it pop. If the Tyranid hive fleets are just a small part of the main army, like a scouting party, what is going to happen when the main force arrives? Can you imagine an alliance of the races to stop them? I know it would be Warcraft-like, but the thing is that they would be the only reasonable answer to a threat like that. Or would it be like, an enemy of my enemy is my friend, unless it is heretic, mutant, Xenos, or witch? Thanks for answering.
Well, right off the bat, that's just the theory.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know if that's true. Yeah. And yeah, I think they would fight amongst themselves if that was true. If like more of the Tyranids would come in. You already see them fighting, like one hive fleet against another hive fleet for possession of a planet. If there's more, there's going to be more fighting.
Oh, and then he also asks, like if that big force came in, would the Imperium and like other races unite to fight them?
Yeah, definitely. That's what happened during the Black Crusade, the 13th Black Crusade. The Eldar, Necron, Space Marines, they didn't really form an alliance, but if there was a war going on and it was one of the races against Chaos, the other races would like back off. They wouldn't help them, but they wouldn't attack them either. It would just be kind of like there's mutual respect because we're fighting the same common enemy.
Right.
But that does not mean that once you finish killing them off, I mean, we're good. No, like
same thing happened with the Blood Angels and the Necrons. They were fighting with one another, and it was like, boom, here's a tidal wave of Tyranids, and they're like, hey, you know, this is a mutual enemy, let's fight. So after they did kill off the Tyranid threat, they're like, you know what, we're fighting, you know, we battled together, we're gonna let you guys go your own way. So there is some respect.
Yeah. Next question comes from Colin Turner Todd. If the Tyranids don't use the warp, how do some of them have psychic powers? Are they like the orcs and create their own through the hive mind, or do they have their own thing that we as humans can't even contemplate? Also, do you think they all have the pariah gene, and that is what causes the shadow and the warp, and why they can't use warp travel? So how do they get psychic powers?
They blot out psychic powers.
Yeah, it is something that is all their own.
Mm-hmm. Think of it like the hive mind bestowing them powers or something.
Yep. And then the other question, what's a pariah gene?
Pariahs used to be a Necron unit. Yeah, I believe it was like a human hybrid of a Necron, or like a human turned Necron. And basically what they did was, I believe it was like a 12-inch bubble around them could not use or be targeted by psychic powers. So they're essentially kind of like psychic blanks. And they're saying, could this be part of the Tyranids as to why they blot out psychic essence?
It might be. It might be an evolutionary adaptation that the hive mind created to confront psychic beings. They could have picked that up from a different universe or a different galaxy, or they could have picked it up as soon as they met a librarian here. Because they have consumed librarians.
Yeah.
Good questions.
Yeah. Last one for today. Christopher Dahlberg. What do you think about the Alpha Legion? Do they still have Omegon as Alfarius? Or is Alfarius Omegon? Are they still loyal to the Emperor? And are they destroying chaos from within? What do you think they will do under the 13th Black Crusade?
What I hope... Well, I know what they did in the 13th Black Crusade. The 13th Black Crusade, they actually attacked the Imperium.
Yeah.
But what I hope is that, yeah, they're secretly loyal, and they're just, like, waiting for...
the right time.
Yeah, what the Harlequins call the last act, where they will come out and they will defend the Emperor. I hope. And do I think Omegon or Alfarius is dead? I think so.
I don't think so. Because everything's so secretive, and it's like, oh, our Primarch died. Let's just continue like nothing happened. I don't think he's really dead. It was it was probably like a clone, or like one of the lores that we talked about suggested that they transferred minds, and then when he was dying, it transferred back or something.
So Omega.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one more question that I want to get your response to. It's random realistic tone. He asks, would you think my Chaos Pimp Hand could slap Slaaneshi ass?
It's got to be strong, and you got to have a bunch of rings on it, or else don't even try.
So win a couple Super Bowls or whatever you have to do in order to slap Slaaneshi's ass.
Yep.
I'm just warning you, if a pimp named Slickback could not do it, you probably won't be able to do it. But thank you guys for sending the questions our way. Next Monday is going to be Halloween. So ask questions within the theme of Halloween, and don't forget to put question before the question.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for supporting us on Patreon. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, please jump on over there because we're giving a free video per week. And
yeah, keep on doing what you guys do, and that is like, subscribe, share, and comment. As always, guys, you know me as the Sound Alchemist, here with
Gersh1.
We are One Mind Syndicate, and we are out of here.